She was standing in the holiest place on earth, the place every Muslim dreams of seeing at least once in life. The air was filled with Allahu Akbar. Tears were falling from thousands of eyes. Hands were raised. Hearts were shaking. But her eyes were empty. She stood there, frozen, unable to move. Everyone around her was crying in front of the Kaaba, but she could not see it no black cloth, no sacred walls, no house of Allah. Only silence. She blinked again, and again, her heart started racing. Ya Allah, she whispered, I came all this way. I waited my whole life, so why can't I see your house? She turned her head left. Nothing. She turned right. Nothing. Fear crawled into her chest. Am I blind? Did something happen to my eyes? She grabbed the arm of a stranger and cried, Please, tell me the truth. Is the Kaaba really here? The woman looked at her in shock and replied, Sister, it is right in front of you. At that moment, her legs gave up. She collapsed on the marble floor of Masjid al-Haram. And that is when she realized this was not a problem of the eyes. This was a problem of the heart, and the sin behind it is something many of us are still committing today without even realizing it. Backhand index pointing right. Don't skip this video, because this story might be about her, but the warning is for you. Her name was Amina. Amina was not just any woman. She was a devout Muslim, a woman who lived her faith with sincerity. She prayed 5 times a day, never missing a single prayer. She fasted every Ramadan with dedication. She gave charity secretly, never asking anyone to notice. She wore her hijab with pride and humility. To everyone around her, she seemed like a simple, ordinary woman. But inside, she carried a dream that had been with her for more than 2 decades. For 22 years, Amina had been saving money. Every extra coin she could spare, every gift she received, she set aside for one goal: to visit the house of Allah and stand before the Kaaba with her own eyes. Every night, before going to sleep, she would make a special dua. Ya Allah, if you will, grant me the honor to see your house. Let me touch the walls of your sanctuary. Let me stand in prayer where your mercy descends, and let me feel your presence. She imagined the moment over and over again. She saw herself walking through the grand gates of Masjid al-Haram, the smell of Zamzam water filling the air, the sound of talbiyah echoing in the sky, the people around her raising their hands in prayer, and the Kaaba rising majestically in front of her. In her mind, it was perfect. Every detail, every feeling, every emotion, she had lived it in her heart 1,000 times. Her family knew about her dream, but no one knew the depth of her longing. Amina didn't just want to go on Hajj. She wanted to feel it with every fiber of her being. She wanted the pilgrimage to change her soul, to make her closer to Allah than she had ever been before. The day finally came. The visa arrived, the tickets were booked, and her heart was lighter than air. She told her friends and family, her eyes sparkling with joy, I am going to Allah's house, the house of mercy, the Kaaba. But as she packed her small suitcase, a quiet voice inside her whispered, Remember, Amina, this journey is not just about travel. It is about the state of your heart. Remember what you have carried inside all these years. She tried to push the thought away, but it lingered. For years, she had been hiding one part of herself even from her own reflection, a memory she didn't like to revisit. A memory that, deep down, she knew she had not truly made peace with. That Amina's journey was long and exhausting. She traveled miles, leaving behind the familiar streets of her town, the familiar smells of home, and the comforts of daily life. She endured flights, layovers, and the fatigue of travel with patience, always keeping her dream alive in her heart. Every night on the plane, every moment of exhaustion, she would close her eyes and imagine the Kaaba waiting for her. And finally, she arrived in Makkah. The city was alive with devotion. The streets were filled with pilgrims from all over the world. The sound of talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, echoed in the air. The smell of incense and the faint aroma of dates and Zamzam water mingled together. Her heart raced faster with every step. She felt as if she could hear her own heartbeat in rhythm with the heartbeat of the city itself. She found her hotel and prepared herself meticulously for her first visit to Masjid al-Haram. She performed wudu with extra care, feeling every drop of water wash over her hands, her face, and her feet. Every act of ablution was a step closer to the moment she had waited her entire life for. And then, with trembling hands and teary eyes, Amina walked toward the sacred mosque. Her heart was pounding. Every step she took on the marble floors was echoing in her chest. She saw the crowds of people surrounding the Kaaba, some weeping, some raising their hands in prayer, some kissing the black stone in awe. And she felt an overwhelming mix of joy, fear, and anticipation. For the first time, she could see the house of Allah. The mosque stretched before her, grand and magnificent. She could hear the murmurs of prayers, the quiet sobs of those overcome with emotion, the whisper of hands against prayer beads. She felt closer to Allah than ever before. Her heart whispered, "I am here. I am finally here. This is my moment, my dream, my life's journey." And yet, deep inside, a small, hidden voice whispered back, "But are you truly ready, Amina? Is your heart pure? Is your soul free of what burdens it?" Little did she know, that voice would soon reveal the truth that no amount of planning, saving, or dreaming could prepare her for. Amina could hardly believe she was finally here. The streets of Makkah were unlike anything she had ever imagined. The city was alive with energy, devotion, and the sound of prayers from every corner. Pilgrims of every color, language, and nation walked with one purpose: to draw closer to Allah. Everywhere she looked, there were tears, hands raised in supplication, and hearts beating in rhythm with faith. She felt a lump in her throat as she saw an old man kissing the Kaaba with the deepest humility. A child ran past her, giggling, while his parents prayed nearby. Every person she saw was a story of hope, repentance, and love for Allah. Amina walked slowly, absorbing every detail. The call of the muezzin echoed in the streets, mingling with the soft whisper of prayers and the rustle of pilgrims' robes. She felt a mixture of joy and nervousness. Her heart was beating so fast she thought everyone could hear it. Her legs felt like jelly, but she walked forward, step by step, toward the house of Allah. When she finally reached the courtyard of Masjid al-Haram, she paused. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The moment she had dreamed of for 22 years had arrived. She could see the Kaaba in the distance, its black cloth gleaming under the soft sunlight. Pilgrims surrounded it, kissing the black stone, crying, praying. Some were overcome with emotion, some whispered silent du'as. Her heart was racing. She felt like she could touch the sky with her devotion. Every step she took on the polished marble floors felt sacred. Every sound of footsteps, every soft whisper of prayer, every flutter of the wind reminded her that she was not just in a city, she was in the presence of Allah himself. She made her way closer, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her hands shook as she adjusted her hijab and prepared for her first glance at the Kaaba. She whispered to herself, "This is it. This is the house of Allah. I've waited my whole life for this." But then a strange, unexplainable feeling crept over her. Something inside her chest tightened. Her breath hitched. She blinked, and suddenly, the Kaaba seemed distant. She leaned forward slightly, thinking her eyes were playing tricks. She moved a few steps to the left, then to the right. Nothing. Her heart skipped a beat. She looked at the faces of other pilgrims. They were all crying, raising their hands, bowing in prayer. And yet, for her, the sacred black cube seemed to fade into nothingness. She whispered, trembling, "Am I imagining this? Am I blind? No, it's right there, isn't it?" She reached out to a woman nearby and grabbed her arm. Her voice shook. "Sister, please, is the Kaaba really here? Tell me, am I losing my mind?" The woman looked at her with surprise and pity. "Sister, it is right in front of you. Can't you see it?" Amina stepped back, her knees weakening. Her chest felt heavy, her heart pounding like a drum. Every dream, every prayer, every step she had taken to reach this moment seemed meaningless. The crowd continued around her, oblivious to her struggle. She felt isolated, lost, and terrified. Her mind raced. She questioned everything she had believed in. "I prayed 5 times a day. I fasted. I gave charity. I wore hijab. Why can't I see the Kaaba? Why, ya Allah, why?" For the first time in her life, doubt crept into her heart, not about Allah, but about herself. She began to remember moments she had buried deep within her conscience. Moments she thought were small, moments she had ignored, but they now seemed massive, like shadows blocking her vision of the sacred house. She sat on the cold marble floor, shaking, and closed her eyes. Her heart whispered, "There is something you have left unresolved, something you have hidden from your own soul, something that now blocks you from my house." And at that moment, Amina realized this journey was not about traveling to Makkah. It was about facing the truth in her own heart. That Amina's heart was racing like never before. She had walked miles, prayed with sincerity, and finally arrived at the house of Allah. And yet, Her eyes could see nothing. The Kaaba, the sacred black cube, the heart of every Muslim's devotion, was invisible to her. She blinked again and again, trying to force her eyes to focus. She moved left. Nothing. She moved right. Nothing. She fell to her knees, her hands trembling, tears streaming down her face. The marble floor beneath her was cold, but she barely felt it. Ya Allah, I have waited my whole life for this. I have prayed. I have fasted. I have given charity. I have saved for this moment. Why can't I see your house? She whispered through sobs. Around her, the crowd moved gracefully. People kissing the black stone, raising their hands, bowing in sujud. Some fainted from the overwhelming emotion. Some laughed through tears. Some whispered heartfelt du'as. And yet, she saw nothing. Panic began to rise inside her. Am I blind? Is something wrong with me? She reached out desperately to a woman nearby. Her voice shook like fragile glass. Please, tell me, is the Kaaba really here? Am I losing my mind? The woman's eyes widened. She looked at Amina with a mix of shock and sympathy. Sister, it is right in front of you. Can't you see it? Amina shook her head, her heart heavy with fear. No, I don't see it. I see nothing. The crowd carried on, unaware of the inner turmoil consuming her. And in that moment, Amina felt something she had never felt before. Deep, unshakable fear. Not fear of travel, not fear of the crowd, but fear of Allah's displeasure. Her mind began to remember the past, the moments she had buried, the memories she thought were long gone. A small incident, a harsh word, an injustice. It surfaced like a shadow, heavy and dark. Years ago, she had wronged someone close to her. She had spoken falsely, accused innocently, and never made amends. At the time, she had told herself, it's in the past. Allah is most forgiving. But now, she realized that forgiveness from Allah does not automatically come without making peace with His creation. She trembled. Her body shook. Her heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might burst. She whispered, Ya Allah, I prayed, I fasted, I gave charity. I came to your house, but why? Why do you hide it from me? A gentle voice echoed in her mind, soft yet powerful. You came to my house, but you have not made peace with my servant. I do not hide my house from the eyes. I hide it from the heart that is burdened by the injustice it has caused. Amina fell to the marble floor in prostration, her tears soaking the prayer mat. She realized then this was not about physical sight. This was about the purity of her heart. She raised her hands in desperation. Ya Allah, guide me. Help me. I do not want to carry this burden any longer. Her thoughts raced. She remembered the woman she had wronged, the tears she had caused, the honor she had damaged. She had never apologized. She had never asked for forgiveness. And now, that one unresolved sin stood between her and the house of Allah. Her lips quivered as she whispered, I must ask her forgiveness before I can stand before you. Even in the middle of the crowd, even in the holy mosque, Amina felt utterly small. Her pride had vanished. Her worldly accomplishments, her prayers, her fasting, all felt meaningless in the shadow of this single sin. And in that moment, she understood a truth every believer must face. Backhand index pointing right, you can travel thousands of miles. You can endure hardship and sacrifice. You can offer prayers and charity, but one wrong you refuse to make right can block the mercy of Allah from your heart. Her journey had brought her to Makkah, but now it was bringing her closer to humility, repentance, and truth. Amina closed her eyes, her hands shaking, and whispered, Ya Allah, show me the way. Let me find her. Let me make things right, please. And that was the beginning of the next step of her journey. A journey not of miles, but of repentance and forgiveness. Amina sat on the cold marble floor, her tears flowing freely. Her heart was heavy, burdened by the weight of years of regret. She realized that no amount of prayer, fasting, or devotion could replace the rights of another human being she had ignored. Her thoughts went back to the woman she had wronged. She remembered the fear in her eyes, the quiet tears, the silence of her suffering. That memory, once buried, now pressed against her chest like a stone. Ya Allah, show me the way, guide me. I cannot see your house. I cannot stand before you while this sin remains in my heart, she whispered, her voice breaking. Without hesitation, she reached for her phone. Her hands shook so much that she could barely dial. She called her family, explained the situation, and asked them to help her find the woman she had hurt so many years ago. Every second felt like an eternity. Her heart raced with fear and hope, dread and anticipation. Hours passed. Every moment felt like a lifetime. Finally, a voice came through the phone. "I forgive her, for Allah's sake," the woman said softly, her words like balm to Amina's wounded heart. That moment, Amina felt a weight lift from her chest. It was as if years of darkness had been replaced by light. Her knees, once trembling, felt steady. Her breath, once heavy with anxiety, became calm. She closed her eyes and whispered a prayer, her voice filled with gratitude. "Ya Allah, you are most merciful, most forgiving. Thank you for guiding me to make things right." When she opened her eyes, everything had changed. The crowd was still moving, prayers were still rising to the sky, and yet the Kaaba stood before her like never before. Black, majestic, sacred. She could see it with clarity, every detail shining, every wall speaking to her soul. Her heart leapt with joy. She dropped to her knees, tears streaming, and prostrated in sajda, feeling closer to Allah than she had ever felt in her life. She whispered over and over, "Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar." In that moment, she understood the deepest lesson of her journey. The Kaaba is not just a building. It is a reflection of the heart. One unresolved sin, one injustice to another, can block the vision of Allah's mercy. True repentance is not only between you and Allah, but also between you and His creation. Amina spent hours in prayer that day. She circled the Kaaba, kissed the black stone, and whispered du'as for everyone she had ever wronged. Her heart felt light, pure, and full of peace. And before she left Makkah, she turned to the crowd around her and whispered, as if speaking to everyone who would hear, "If Allah's house disappears from your life, do not blame your eyes. Check your heart. Maybe someone is crying because of you. Make peace, seek forgiveness, and your soul will see what your eyes could not before." Amina left Masjid al-Haram that day not just as a pilgrim, but as a transformed soul. She realized that the journey to Allah's house was not just about traveling thousands of miles. It was about traveling into the depths of her own heart. And from that day onward, she carried the lesson with her. The true Kaaba, the true house of Allah, is always visible to a heart that is pure, humble, and forgiving. Amina stood once more in the courtyard of Masjid al-Haram. The Kaaba rose before her, black and majestic, glowing with a sacred light that seemed to touch her very soul. She could see it clearly now, every corner, every seam of the cloth, every stone radiating holiness. She raised her hands and whispered, "Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar." But this time, her tears were different. They were not tears of confusion or fear. They were tears of understanding, humility, and gratitude. For years, she had chased a dream, thinking that seeing the Kaaba with her eyes would complete her. But now she realized, the true Kaaba is in the heart. Every act of injustice, every unkind word, every hidden sin, if left unresolved, can block the mercy of Allah, just as it had blocked her vision that day. She thought about the woman she had wronged. She thought about all the people she had hurt in small ways, without even realizing it. And she made a vow, "I will live my life seeking forgiveness. I will correct my mistakes. I will heal hearts, as Allah has healed mine today." Amina walked around the Kaaba, her steps light, her heart full of peace. Every prayer she had offered in the past, every tear she had shed in private, all of it led her here. But it was the act of repentance and reconciliation that opened her eyes fully, that allowed her to truly see the house of Allah. Before leaving Makkah, she whispered to herself and to every believer who would hear her story, "If you ever feel distant from Allah, if the sacred seems hidden, do not look with your eyes alone. Look into your heart. Seek forgiveness, make amends, and purify your soul. Only then will His house truly appear to you." Amina returned home a changed woman, not because she had traveled thousands of miles, but because she had traveled into her own heart, faced her sins, and sought to make them right. And that is the lesson for all of us. No journey is complete until your heart is pured, and no prayer reaches its full potential if someone's rights remain unhealed. The mercy of Allah is infinite, but it flows through hearts that are humble, forgiving, and sincere. Amina's story reminds us, the Kaaba is not just a structure of stone and cloth. It is a symbol of Allah's presence, visible only to the heart that is ready to see. And as she whispered her final dua, "Ya Allah, let my heart always be your home," the light of understanding, peace, and divine mercy filled her soul, brighter than anything she had ever imagined. If Allah's house seems hidden from your eyes, do not blame your sight. Look into your heart. Check the deeds you have done and the rights you may have neglected. Seek forgiveness, make amends, and purify your soul. Only then will His house truly appear to you, and only then will your heart be ready to feel His mercy. No journey is complete until your heart is pure. No prayer reaches its full potential if someone's rights remain unhealed. Remember, the Kaaba is not just stone and cloth. It is a reflection of Allah's presence in a heart that is humble, forgiving, and sincere. Travel to His house, but first travel into your own heart, for that is where the true Kaaba waits for you.